Hello, Libronauts. Welcome back. If you are new here and you've never joined any of our discussions, this is Libronauts Book Club. We are a science fiction book club that meets monthly for the months of January through October, and we read a variety of science fiction genres. This month we read, March, not April, but this month, and you can't really see my copy, we read Jurassic Park by Michael Crichton, and we're going to discuss it tonight. And let me see here. With me, I have Heather oh my gosh, blanking on your title. Of Books and Heather, there we go, as my co-host. So Heather, do you want to say hi and introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, everybody. My name is Heather. My channel is Books and Heather. And I have a cat who is just like coughing in the corner. So if y'all hear a weird sound, I promise she's okay. But I read thrillers. I read mostly fantasy, romance, and like this year is the year I've started dipping my toes into sci-fi. So I was really excited when I got to co-host this and like really excited that this was the book that got picked. Yeah, I'm a teacher. I live in Mississippi. There's not that much going on over here.
Awesome. Alrighty. I don't know if anyone has stopped by yet, but if you are here and you read the book, let us know what your rating was. And then Heather, do you want to give a spoiler-free synopsis before we start the discussion?
Sure. I feel like a lot of people are at least familiar with what Jurassic Park is because the movie industry and franchise is so big for this book. But the book is basically about kind of like a twofold situation. You've got this, I don't even really know what to call them, but you've got some people that have funded a whole bunch of money into this private island, as well as kind of bioengineered genetic testing to bring the dinosaurs back and create a theme park, an amusement park, kind of based on the dinosaurs as entertainment. And then you have some people who have been invited to come out and kind of have a first look at Jurassic Park. And this is a team of scientists, mathematicians, and some children to come and have kind of the first look and first experience on the park. And nothing goes quite as planned.
Indeed. Yes. And something I was a little surprised about is, I mean, obviously the movie is what it is, and it's very thrillery and maybe a little bit horror, but I feel like it's not super detailed or super grotesque. There were a lot of things in this book that it was like, oh, wow, it went there.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Lots of intestines.
Lots of intestines.
I didn't really need to hear about, but yeah. So that was kind of surprising. I did ask, actually, let me pull up the poll. I asked on our Discord, which I completely forgot to talk about in the introduction, but you guys can follow Libronauts Book Club over on Instagram, and we do have a Discord, which is linked in the bio of the Instagram. So chapter breakdowns, things like that throughout the month if you want to discuss with the other Libronauts. Okay, so I asked a poll of if people have seen Jurassic Park, and everyone that answered said yes. So sounds like most of us have seen it. Now, you said you've seen it, but it's been a while, right?
Yeah, it's been at least 10 years, if not more. So I can remember like the really big important scenes from the movie, and I remember what all the characters looked like, but I didn't remember a lot of the plot points or the science behind how things had happened. So it was kind of like experiencing it again for the first time. And while I could remember a little bit about what the characters looked like, they weren't super vivid. So I was kind of getting to imagine everything myself, which was fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen it a lot of times. It's probably one of my favorite movies. And then my youngest, he's obsessed with Jurassic Park. So because of him, in my not later years, but like more recent years, I've had to watch it a lot. So I love it. And I definitely was picturing all of the same actors. There's one of the characters in the movie is actually kind of a combination of two of the characters in the book, which I found interesting. So I kept having to look up like the cast list to see what people's names were to be like, okay, is this the person that they're talking about? And that's kind of when I discovered that, these two characters are this one person. But yeah, there were definitely a lot of things I feel like that were different in the movie. But I think for the most part, like it did follow it pretty well. So I was pleased with that.
Mm-hmm.
It's always hard when you read a book and then watch the movie and it's super different, or vice versa. So, alrighty. So the first question is, have you read a classic sci-fi before? This is, I think, from 1990, which is the year I was born. So I'm a classic, apparently.
89 over here. So, um, depending on what we're classifying as sci-fi, I mean, like I read Brave New World in
Mhm.
high school, and I guess that's kind of teetering on some sci-fi themes.
Yep.
But I don't really think other than that I've branched into classic sci-fi.
Okay. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that because I kind of forgot about that one. That I had to read it in high school. It's definitely dystopian, so definitely qualifies as sci-fi. And that might be the only one. I do have Dune. I don't know what year that came out, but I know it's quite a bit older, but I haven't read it yet. Yeah, I think that might be it for me as well. Let's see here. So, of course, with this being a sci-fi, and this is a sci-fi book club, let's talk about some of the aspects of this book that were science fiction. So, what were some of the things that went on, some of the themes that kind of qualified this book for science fiction?
Well, I mean, we're obviously looking at like dinosaurs, which in general is just like a topic of science
Yeah.
that we're interested in, but also just the whole like biogenetics, and I don't know all the technical terms. They kind of like fly over my head, but you're looking a lot at the ethics of just because you can doesn't mean you should. And I feel like with science, that's something that comes up a lot as kind of an ethical and moral dilemma.
Mhm.
Um, and some I was vlogging part of this book, and as an educator, we're always talking about incorporating STEAM into our resources, not just STEM, but STEAM, which would be science, technology, engineering, art, and math. And I
Okay.
really feel like this book kind of covered all of those topics, even like the art and the aesthetics of it, with looking at the park. And I don't know, it just really did a good job at covering the broad spectrum of mathematics. And there's so much technology in this book and what happens when technology fails.
Mhm.
And Ian Malcolm was brought in as a mathematician to kind of consult with data, I guess. Like, I still sometimes question like what he was actually doing as part of the group, but I really liked that he was there.
Mhm.
But yeah, what about you?
Yeah, definitely the whole bioengineering, which is interesting because I mean, that's stuff that has at least started to take effect. I mean, like cloning and things like that. Like that's something that is being worked on right now. And
Mhm.
I think I've heard that it's been somewhat successful in, maybe not viable full time, but so I don't know, like it's so futuristic, but it's also happening right now. And I think what's so fascinating is this book is from 1990, which basically means he was writing it in the 80s. So for all of this science and technology and computer stuff to be so like heavy in this book, it was kind of amazing. And just like trying to think of how it would have been reading this book for the first time in 1990 when it came out.
Mhm.
Would that have blown your mind?
I think so. And kind of going back to the classic sci-fi and it being from 1990, change out a couple of the technology things, and like I feel like it is not a dated book at all.
Right. Yeah, for sure. We have a couple comments. Hello, Liv. Just wanted to stop and say hi to you beautiful ladies. Well, thank you. Love these movies, but never read the books. Fair. I hate that I didn't get to this one. Hi, Kendall. I tried so hard, but I'm in a big reading slump. I feel you. March was not a great month. And, to be completely transparent, guys, I finished this book like 30 minutes before I hopped on here.
Same.
So technically it's the April book.
And I was kind of the opposite. I wasn't in a slump, but I read so many good books, and so many of them were long books that I was like, where am I going to fit this in? I didn't
Wow.
want to read it too early and forget everything, but then I ended up having to cram it in.
Yep. Yeah. I feel like every month I have the best intentions, like, okay, start it by mid-month. So if I do finish it right away, like not too much time has gone by, and then I'm usually scrambling to finish at the end. But today, like this one was the worst. Ah, procrastination. Plus a lot of personal stuff, unfortunately, but I do want to get to it. Oh, well, I hope everything is okay. And thanks for stopping by and saying hi. I appreciate it. Alrighty. So, uh, extinct animals, bringing them back. What species of animal do you think that you would want to bring back from extinction if you had the ability to do so? And why?
This book makes me question if I even would want to do that. Um, but probably, I mean, I'm a cat person, so I'd love to just like see a saber-toothed tiger.
Oh, that'd be cool. That'd be really cool. So, I don't have like a specific species in mind, but it, I don't know, maybe like some kind of keystone species or a species that was really helpful for the environment. Like if otters ever went extinct, like we'd
God.
need to bring those back.
Mhm.
I mean, they are super cute, but they're also like really, really helpful for the environment.
Yeah,
So yeah, probably something like that. Something like our world was made worse by the extinction of that animal. So whatever that might be.
totally makes sense.
Yeah. Let's see. Can we count my intentions too? Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, of course.
Looks however you want to.
Okay. So these dinosaurs, I mean, Jurassic Park is basically a zoo. So did you feel sympathy for the dinosaurs, or did you kind of see them as the antagonists of the story?
I definitely didn't see them as antagonists because they were just acting within their nature.
Hmm.
Even, I mean, from our point of view, like reading from the kids' POV or from anybody that was interacting with the T-Rex or the velociraptors or the ones with the little poisonous,
Oh, yeah,
blinding.
Dilophosaurus or something like
Yeah.
that.
Like it was terrifying to read from. Like Lex kept talking about how I hate the T-Rex. I hate the T-Rex. And Tim turned around to her at one point and he said he's just acting like a T-Rex.
Yeah.
Um, and so they're given this environment and I don't know, like I don't think that they were the antagonists at all. I think that you put a dinosaur on Earth around the people that live here today and that's just how they're going to act.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, no, I completely agree. They are definitely just doing what they do. Um, and then even still, it's like they are actually a little bit of a victim because
Mhm.
at the hands of humans, they were brought back like against their will, and they were changed at some, molecular level. They are not. There was a conversation, I think, between Hammond, and I don't think I marked it, but Hammond and um, Dr. Wu, I think, talking about how they're real dinosaurs in the sense that they are real and they're here, but they're not real dinosaurs.
Mhm.
Like dinosaurs from back in the day are not these creatures. These creatures have been changed and altered. Um, so it's I don't know, kind of unfair to them. And then for them to be locked up and have the electric fencing and all that stuff. I can't remember what chapter it was, but it was when Dr. Grant and then Lex and Timmy were kind of going down the river or approaching the river. And the T-Rex was like, he had like a full belly and he was full and he was
Mhm.
open and just like swatting the fly. That was so cute. I read
Right.
that and I'm like, oh,
Like he's just full and he's content and he's just taking a little post-dinner nap.
yeah, a little snoozy.
It also made me really sad for the dinosaurs when the vet was talking about how they're finding all of these sicknesses in them, and sometimes, like, the new version of this dinosaur has to die, and I'm like, "You're essentially creating something that you don't understand, that's a living, breathing creature, that you're just like, oh, well, we'll do better next time.
Yeah.
And that's so sad to me. It's
Yeah.
not their fault.
Yeah. Did they, I feel like I was waiting for that, but did they explicitly say that they like kill the ones that like don't work out?
I don't remember if they explicitly said it, but I feel like it was implied.
Okay. Yeah. That's kind of what I was hoping wouldn't be the case. But yeah, and that's like so sad.
Because I mean, in my opinion, like Hammond as naive and like jolly old man as he tried to come across, like he was the ultimate villain to me in this case because he just could not see what he was doing. He was so blinded by his vision
Mhm.
that the like the details of what he was doing just completely bypassed him.
Yeah.
And when you're creating something for entertainment, you don't care about the details.
Especially when there's money involved.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, and obviously, guys, at this point, like we are going to start talking about spoilers. So if you don't want to be spoiled on the movie or the book, maybe come back later. But in the movie, like John Hammond, he really is kind of like that jolly, happy, like, look at what I've done. Look at this park. And here are my grandkids. And, just, I don't know. But in the book, he was, he was very angering. Like,
Mm-hmm.
the attitude that he had, the arrogance that he had, and just, oh, he made me very angry. I did not like the book version of him.
And not only did he not have empathy and compassion for the dinosaurs, like they were toys to him.
Mm-hmm.
But you also just like don't see him really caring for humans either. Like
Mm-hmm.
his grandkids are here and he just pawned them off to an employee and spent no time with them.
Yeah. And then when he finds out that they're missing, he just continues to
Oh,
nonchalantly
they'll
eat.
show up. They'll show
Yeah,
up.
we'll
We'll
find
find
them. Excuse me? Oh my goodness. All right. So Kendall said most extinct animals scare the crap out of me. Fair. Fair. There are some like endangered species that I would definitely want to save, like should that eventually happen, because it's like if they have existed in my lifetime and then no longer do because of poaching or their environment has been destroyed because of humans and they have nowhere to go, like yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I would want to do that. The fact that they are kept in cages makes me sympathize with them too. Like they're just wild animals. They aren't meant to be domesticated, and dinosaurs definitely would be wild. Yeah. And it's really kind of cool too, because they would talk about this. And again, it's hard to say, is it because of the characteristics of a dinosaur, or do they have these characteristics because of how they've been genetically modified? But like they talked a little bit about how like some of the different species, they could only have like a couple of them together at once, otherwise it got really really competitive. So
Mm-hmm.
they have to, like they would just learn these weird quirks of them. And it's like initially they were probably trying to put as many of them together as they could to like maximize profits when the time came to open the park.
Yeah.
Hey, Sam. Sorry I'm late. Haven't read the book, but watched the movies. No worries. Thank you for stopping by.
Seriously.
Appreciate it. Sorry I'm late. No worries. Hello, Sarah Cat. Not sure how much I'll remember since I read the book in high school. Yeah, I wondered about that just because this is really the first majorly old book that we've read in the book club. Like how many people have read it, but it's been a while. So welcome, though. Happy to have you. Definitely felt both. It was just the dinosaurs' nature, but the people also had to fight against them. Yeah. But it's like at the same time, they're in their environment that humans created for them. And then the humans are like encroaching on that environment. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
And like, I just hated the way you made these things. These things have what we think, what is implied that is an innate nature, but of course they're genetically modified. So who really knows?
Yeah.
But like to split them up into habitats, I understand why they did it for like entertainment and safari park purposes, but like that's not how a dinosaur acts. You're not really going back to the discussion, you're not really seeing a real dinosaur.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to be separated by electric fences. They're not going to be kept in a habitat. That's not how they lived.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and then another thing too with the like the berries or whatever, like they intentionally put that plant there and they're like, oh, the dinosaurs don't eat them. But then it turned out like the berries got mixed up with the stones that the dinosaur needed to ingest to help like digest its food, and then it would get sick. So it's like the carelessness,
Yes,
like
absolute carelessness. And you get one person that actually understands what's going on with the paleobotanist.
mhm,
She's like, "When look at this and you wouldn't have done it." So like they're not putting all the work in that would have needed to be done.
right. Yeah. This is like making me really sad
Me too.
thinking about this. Oh, studied animal behavior in college. Oh, interesting. Can't imagine how you would enrich a dinosaur in a small enclosure. Yeah. Yeah. Especially the predators, because it's like they need to be able to go out and hunt for prey. But to
Mhm.
just be fed, like have a goat rise up out of the ground tied to a chain, like that's not doing what needs to be done for that predator to have like the most, I don't know, the
Enriched
greatest
life.
life. Yeah, exactly. Enrichment, the greatest life possible. Yeah. Oh, poor things. So yeah, I think it's safe to say majority, if not all of us, agree the dinosaurs were kind of the victims here. Speaking of which, the real evil of the story, as you kind of alluded to with John Hammond, so corporate greed was probably the primary downfall of the park. Um, so John Hammond, like his vision, like you said, that's all he saw. He saw dollar signs, but he also like kept digging himself into a hole, like getting all this money from investors and then having to owe those investors.
Mhm.
And that's all he cared about was the money and him thinking about like, oh, I'll make the tickets super expensive and only rich people can do it, and they will because it's a an experience that's one in a lifetime. Um, so his greed definitely, I think, was the primary reason that this park did not work, despite all of the specialists that were telling him otherwise, especially Ian Malcolm. Um, and he just didn't listen. So, how could things have been done differently to make Jurassic Park safer and ultimately a success that it was intended to be?
I mean, I think up front, there's things that initially could have made it successful, but I think, and I mean, you look at the chaos theory and everything that's discussed later on. I think ultimately, no matter what, it would have failed.
Mhm,
Um, the berries, like get somebody that knows not to put those there.
mhm,
Maybe you wouldn't have made the predators, and you would have just had herbivores roaming because like they're still a huge thing to look at. But
mhm.
Hammond was like, no, 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 the T-Rex, he's the star of the show. We have to have the T-Rex. Um, but ultimately, like I feel like it could have been different time ranges, but no matter what, it was not going to be successful.
Yeah. Yeah, those are all fair points. I think, because didn't from the like the start of everything to the opening of the park, wasn't it like 5 years or something like
Yeah,
that?
it wasn't much time in my opinion at all.
No. Especially if you have to like first of all, they had to test the DNA that they had to even figure out, is this a dinosaur? And then the success rate of it actually being a viable creature that grows into, an infant and then an adult dinosaur, like just imagining the amount of work that had to go into that, I would assume that people were overworked and exhausted. So mistakes were probably likely to have been made. And because it was so like hush hush. Like they didn't want a lot of people to know about it.
Mhm.
If they would have done things the correct way, then they could have had people, like you said, saying like, this plant is poisonous. It does not belong here. Or somebody talking about like, don't mix it with amphibian DNA because they can swap genders. And then guess what? They're going to make new dinosaurs.
Mhm. And it was even talking about how I'm really bad with like side character names, but the one who had worked at like a zoo
Hmm.
and then he came over here and he wasn't even concerned with what kind of dinosaur was what kind of dinosaur.
Hmm.
Like didn't bother to learn their names. And I'm like, how can you have somebody working at a park that is one of a kind like this
Hmm.
and they're not even like getting down in the weeds about like what they're working with?
Right.
Um I had another train of thought and it just zoomed right on by, but
I hate when that happens. Here, I'll check comments. And if you think of it, let me know. um, So no T-Rex or raptors, more people that cared for the animals. But yeah, not sure if it would have ever survived as a concept, good in theory, but not in practice. Yeah. I mean, I think they had a good idea. I agree, having like introducing predators, probably not the greatest. And I like your idea, Heather, of just having like the herbivores. But the fact that they like bought a private island intending to keep it so like they can't get out, but it's like obviously that didn't work, did it? So like they didn't do everything that they needed to do. Oh my gosh. But yeah, um I don't know. Like I feel like I'm maybe not being optimistic, but like I would like to think like it could have been successful. So I don't know. I don't know. It was aimed to me more of a theme park rather than a nature preserve or something like that. Yeah, and they did even call, like, I don't know if they said rides, but they definitely used the word attraction
mhm.
a couple times, and I think even Dr. Grant kinda, like, took pause, and he's like, "What?"
Yeah, I remember that too.
Well,
Um, I remember what I was gonna say, like, it wasn't long there wasn't that much time that was going to be between the visit of Grant and Malcolm and everybody to the opening, right? I mean, I can't remember how long it was.
I feel like they were still a year out, or it was, like, later that year. I wanna say, like, September or something.
Yeah, I feel like it was within the same year, but there were several months in between, but, like, it felt like as far as running the park,
Mhm,
the only thing that they were focused on was the dinosaurs as an attraction and then, like, things that were aiding to the dinosaur attraction because they were talking about how because of the way that the flying dinosaurs were interacting with each other, they hadn't done anything to the Treetop Lodge,
mhm,
um, and there was no restaurant even, like, starting up. Like, they had a recording about, like, what you could order at the restaurant. I just feel like attention wasn't evenly divided across all of the things that were going to be a part of the park,
mhm.
and they would have been rushing, to get those things set up, which could have also ultimately led to the downfall of a park in a completely different aspect.
Yeah.
Not to mention, like, they hadn't even considered or talked about, like, importing food for the restaurants and how guests were getting to the island in mass quantities. Like, I wanted to know more about that kind of stuff too,
Yeah.
because that's more stuff that could lead to the success or downfall of the park.
Yeah. And that ship that left, it sounded like, wasn't it like 17, 18 hours or something?
Mhm.
Or it, and I mean, so hopefully they would have a faster form of transportation.
We can't all land on a helicopter.
Right. Right. I agree with Heather, but just for the sake of it, I would say keep it smaller, figure out how to keep happy and healthy of one type, and then put the dinosaurs' lives first. Yes. Okay. So, fun fact, there's a video game. I can't remember if it's called Jurassic World or if it's called, oops, Jurassic Park, but it's like Jurassic something evolution. And I have it on PlayStation and it's really fun. And you get to like do trial and error, and you have to like harvest the dinosaur DNA, and then you have to put it in the lab and you have to try to extract the DNA and create a new dinosaur. Sometimes it's successful, sometimes it fails. And then one of them, I think it's the Triceratops or one of the similar type of species, but once they get too many of them, or maybe it's if there's not enough because they're really social animals, they like freak out and they try to break out and then they like destroy the fence and they run around and then people like you have to have like these bunkers for people to run into. So that's kind of what it reminds me of, is just like the trial and error that is required because it was such a short amount of time. And it sounded like so many people were maybe not clueless, but just not 100%. And like people were not on the same page with it, like at all.
There are constant arguments and like differing opinions that you were getting between the people that had been at the island for a longer amount of time.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Enrich their diets, enrich their environment, find scientists who actually put the dinosaurs first. Yeah, for sure. Like, I feel like Dr. Wu, like, he had good intentions, I feel like, and he tried to voice his opinion to Hammond, but Hammond just, like, kept shutting him down, and it's like, he's the expert. Like,
Right.
you recruited him out of, like, his doctoral program or something, I can't remember, to bring him here for a specific reason, and, like, you're not listening to him.
The only like enrichment I saw was the room that had the baby raptors, and it was talking about how there was like a baby rattle and like toys that the baby raptors had. And then of course we saw the fate of that one little baby raptor. And
Yeah.
but like
There
I
was
didn't see much enrichment other than that.
no. No. Yeah, there were a couple things that happened, and I'm just like, "Oh," and that was one of them.
Uh-huh. I was not expecting that.
No, not at
I don't remember
all.
if that's in the movie or not, but
I don't think so. I don't think so. In fact, I feel like there weren't oh, no, there were, because I remember when they're in the lab, like, when everyone gets there, and they're kinda taking the tour of the lab, they watch the baby raptors hatching. Because I was gonna say, I don't think there were any baby dinosaurs, but there were. Don't rush anything. Yes.
Mhm.
Like, 5 years, it literally should have been 20.
That's what I was just about to say. 20 seems like bare minimum.
Yeah.
Because you have to watch, like I mean, I don't know what the lifespan of a dinosaur is, but, I mean, you need to know these things. You need to know how to deal with the dinosaurs in older age too. Like, I feel like that would just be another kind of catastrophic thing that could happen is, like, the death of a dinosaur with tourists at the park just being like, "What's happening?"
Yeah,
Or how to care for a geriatric dinosaur. Like, they don't know any of these things.
right. Yeah. Ugh. Zoo Tycoon.
I
Yeah, it's
remember Zoo Tycoon.
similar, yep.
I had the free trial, so I only got to have, like, the lions and the tigers, I think.
When I managed a dairy farm, my boss told me I was a pessimist, whereas I always felt like I was preparing for all things that could happen. It's definitely frustrating. Yeah. Yep. I feel like that's kind of like your boss kind of sounds like Hammond because he kept like "Rah, rah, rah," to Malcolm because Malcolm kept he was like the voice of reason. And Hammond is just like, oh, I hate that guy. Biggest enrichment I remember is in Jurassic World when he is clicker training the raptors. Yeah.
I feel like we saw more of that in Jurassic World than we
Yeah,
did in Jurassic Park.
for sure. For sure. Cause like I feel like in Jurassic Park, they would antagonize them a little bit. And they were in a cage, like a really tight cage.
Mhm.
So yeah, very, very different. Very different. All
Oh,
right.
I also saw, a TikTok today. I guess I've just been talking about Jurassic Park a lot, and my phone heard me, but they were talking about the map in Jurassic Park and, like,
Mhm.
where things would be. The Velociraptor cage area was literally right next to the visitor center. The most dangerous creatures that you have are housed right next to where all the people are gonna be.
That's not smart.
And if you think about, like, the tour that they took around, that is the first place over.
Yeah. Hmm. That's not smart at all. Yeah. Who thought about this stuff? I have lost my spot. Okay. All right. So we talked about the corporate greed. Okay. So which one should we do next? I feel like well, you mentioned chaos theory already. So we can talk about this one. So chaos theory played a big role. Ian Malcolm was, you know, he talked about it a lot. He had what's it called, like the Malcolm effect or something
Mm.
that kind of played into it as well. So where did we see that chaos theory take effect in the book, and where do we see it take place now? And also too, like, just for clarification, and correct me if I'm wrong, but is it your understanding that chaos theory is basically, what is that one? I want to say like Murphy's Law or something. Like if something can go wrong, it will. But this is saying like something will go wrong because you cannot predict every variable that's
That's
gonna.
kind of what I was getting from it, and I'm not gonna lie, all the science stuff does sometimes go over my head, especially if I don't have, like, a long dedicated time to kind of sit down and take notes and sit with it.
Mhm,
So, chaos theory, I just kind of had this, like, general understanding of it, and I kept pushing through the book since I had not as much time to read it as I intended.
mhm,
But they planned this park under the impression that they had so much control over it. The first several chapters you're getting, "Oh, well, we can constantly track X number of dinosaurs that we know exist here, and so we know where they are at all times. We have security fences that are set up with state-of-the-art technology to help monitor and keep them confined,"
mhm,
and it turned out that no matter what their best interests were, they were wrong,
mhm,
because they were only tracking the amount of dinosaurs that they thought they had. They weren't taking into account the fact that these dinosaurs could have actually been breeding, and so
mhm,
there were so many more dinosaurs than originally anticipated.
yeah,
So you have that combined with the fact that you had that one greedy little goober who was like, "I'm gonna steal all of these dinosaur embryos. I'm gonna
mhm,
shut the technology on this place down with enough time for me to escape." The technology never gets set back up, and so it is literal mass chaos as these dinosaurs swap enclosures
mhm.
and chase after these people who were on a tour and now can't finish the tour because the technology shut down. So it's like best laid plans completely gone to waste.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Um, yeah, I think that was pretty much exactly like my line of thinking as well, especially the tracking, because it's like all they were really thinking of was dinosaurs escaping and there being some missing. And so when those little, I can't remember what they were calling them, carmies or whatever.
Please.
Yeah, thank you. How they apparently escaped on one of the cargo ships, and then they got to the other island, and then they started, attacking people or babies anyways.
Attacking children.
Yeah. And it's like they didn't account for that because the unpredictability of using amphibian DNA to like fill in the missing pieces that they needed when they were trying to replicate these dinosaurs. So yeah, just so much. And here again, it's like if they would have just shared what was going on and hired the correct people, somebody like Ian Malcolm from the start, he could have been there, or someone like him could have been there, being that voice of reason, like, hey, did you think of this?
Mhm.
Like, they
Even
really needed that.
addressing that one graph that they showed about, like, how everything was working perfectly in this nice little bell curve, exactly how
Mhm,
it should have been working, and you
mhm,
have one mathematician take a look at it and be like, "This is wrong," because
mhm.
you have multiple iterations of the same species, so it shouldn't be one bell curve. You should be having a curve for each iteration of the species, and anybody that knows what they're talking about could see that you're wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. So in the real world, like, can you think of any examples? Like, I just kind of keep coming back to like airplanes.
That's been a big one lately too.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, that's really, and I mean, driving as well,
Mhm.
which if you really think about it is kind of crazy. It's kind of insane. Like, we are getting into these moving bullets and we're trusting everybody else on the road that they are not, inebriated or under the influence of anything or falling asleep. And like, that's
Distracted driving.
crazy. Yeah.
Mhm. If
There's
their
so
car
many.
operates functionally.
Yeah.
Stoplights always terrify me. Like, I used to have a nightmare that, like, the timers on the stoplights were wrong and it was just gonna be, like, constant wrecks. But, I mean, we're trusting and relying on so many things that are put in place,
Mhm.
and it's like, if one thing changes, then we're all in trouble.
Oh my gosh. Heather, that is such an awesome example because, first of all, I never thought of that. And that is actually terrifying. And then also, like, that's a really good parallel to like what's talked about in the book. Like, I think Ellie talked about it, how like you guys are over relying on technology that is not obviously something that's going to work 100% of the time. And I mean, like even nowadays, it's like technology fails all the time.
Yep. I'm a teacher and I had an administrator in my classroom and I was playing an online game with my students today. And right when he walked in, my internet stopped working. I was like, well, my best laid plans now don't matter with my boss in here watching me. I have to come up with a plan B right now. So technology fails us all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like the whole them being on an island with electric fences that require electricity in an island, like in the ocean, like what makes you think the power is not going to go out or that your generator is going to fail or
Oh,
not fail?
you know what else just completely baffled me?
What?
There is not an on island doctor. You are so far away from everybody else,
Oh
and you're
yeah.
not going to have an on island doctor, even for things like the flu. What if one of your staff just gets the flu, not to mention mauled by a dinosaur?
Yeah, you're right. Because at the very beginning, they had to go to that other island when the raptors attacked that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. I have like so many chills talking about this book right now. Ah, dum-de-dum. Okay, so there's too many variables with something as complex as this. Yeah, agreed. One small thing can cause chaos, especially when it's not factored.
And Malcolm even mentioned the butterfly effect, but like chaos theory being the butterfly effect on crack.
Yeah, yeah. Honestly, anything with humans is yeah,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. Because like I don't know, we're not. I feel like most species are inherently innocent, except for humans, because we are so easily like I don't know. I don't want to say manipulated, but we, for the most part, not everybody, obviously, but like compared to an elephant or a dog, like a human is much more likely, and of course, I'm starting to lose my voice now. A human is much more likely to follow their own self interest above everything else. So, yeah, I agree. It's like if a human is involved, the likelihood of something failing or going awry or turning to complete chaos, it's
Mm-hmm.
going to increase big time.
I also think like with as much intelligence and understanding of the world as we have,
Mhm.
we expect every other living, breathing creature to operate under human rules.
Yeah.
And other creatures, I think, just understand that thing is not like me and it's not going to act like me.
Mhm. Yeah. And we do that like with our own species too.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, I think she's talking about the stoplight thing.
Yeah, it's a big fear of mine.
It is now for me too. Oh my gosh. Okay, so one of my favorite things in this book, and I haven't marked because I want to read a little bit of it.
Yeah, I don't know where I put my Kindle.
So it's towards the end. Well, with different editions, I guess I don't know if it's going to be the same page, but it's the chapter Destroying the World. So Dr. Malcolm basically humbles Hammond regarding the resilience of our planet because Hammond is kind of talking about how like they avoided disaster because Hammond was like, "Oh my gosh, I almost single-handedly destroyed the world by letting these dinosaurs get out." And Ian Malcolm is just like, "That's really something you were worried about." And as I'm because I like tandem read this, so it's like I'm listening to it and I'm like, "Well, yeah." And then he starts talking about how um our planet is just so resilient. So he says, let me tell you about our planet. Our planet is 4.5 billion years old. There's been life on this planet for nearly that long, 3.8 billion years. The first bacteria, and later the first multicellular animals, then the first complex creatures, the sea and the land. So our very small scope of time on this planet compared to the entire life that this planet has had, like, I don't know, it was just so cool. Like he's just like, you think that you're that powerful that you can destroy the world like
Mhm.
through this minuscule little human. And that just really made me think like, yeah, even nowadays, like with weather patterns getting really kind of scary, it's like, and we keep saying we are destroying this planet. It's like, really, we are destroying this planet for us.
That's yeah.
It's going to destroy us. And then we're going to be gone, but something else will come of it.
But because we have an innate sense of thinking that we are God and we are the owners of this world, we think, well, if we're destroyed, everything's destroyed. And
Yeah,
that's not the case.
right. Yeah. Oh, I loved that.
Mhm.
I actually, after the chapter ended, I went back and I re-listened to it after I got to sit down because I was cooking dinner. It was tonight that I read that part. And I'm like, oh man, I need to re-listen to that. So I like sat down and I slowed the audio down and I'm just like, oh,
It's so good.
yes. I loved him so much.
Uh-huh. I think that, like, he's one of my favorite characters I've read in a long time, and I
Mhm.
can't say that every character in this book felt, like, fully fleshed out or developed, but I really liked what he brought to this story in particular.
Yes. Yeah. So I guess my question for you and for anyone watching, um, did this monologue change your perception of the destruction of Earth by humans? Like, I guess before you heard this or read this, were you in agreement with Hammond, or did you already think like Malcolm?
I mean, I guess I didn't really think about it
Mhm.
before this monologue, like, I could see that that was a worry for Hammond, but I kind of was just going along with the story of the book, but then I paused and really thought about what Malcolm was saying here, um, and yeah, like, definitely changes my perception of it in the story, but also my perception of, like, a day-to-day life and, like, being a human on this planet.
Mhm. Yeah, it just like I don't know. It makes me think of Men in Black at the very end of the first movie. It like zooms out and it's like Earth and then our solar system and then um like we're in a marble or something and then our marble gets thrown into a bag of other marbles and like this huge alien is like playing marbles with us and it's like we are so unimportant and we are so like so small. I don't know. I don't know. I just
Yeah,
love this.
and it's crazy that, like, this book is leading into all of these big picture discussions, but, like, it's both a big thing and a small thing for us, right? Because the world we are such a small blip for what our world can put up with.
Yeah.
But if we care about us and we care about our survival, then we do need to make these changes and consider these things that ultimately aren't gonna tear down the world in the grand scheme of things. But like if we want our part in the world, then we do have to take care of those things. So it's cyclical. It all works together.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oops, sorry.
Yeah, and I think he even mentioned too, because like Hammond was talking about like the ozone layer
Mhm.
and UV light or radiation or whatever. And um, Dr. Malcolm was like, there are forms of life that thrive on that. Like just because it's bad for us doesn't necessarily mean, and I mean, like you said, obviously, yes, that it is very detrimental to a lot of aspects. Like what's the whole thing with like, and again, this is purely due to humans, man-made things, but like sunscreen, being in the ocean and destroying the coral.
Mhm.
It's like if we weren't here, that coral would be thriving without that, threatening its existence.
And coral is a huge ecosystem to other life in the ocean. And so everything relies on something else and everything can tear down something else. And
Mhm. Ah, I feel like this got really
it
philosophical.
sure did. I love books like this.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Okay. So, a couple questions left. Would you ever visit a Jurassic Park if a real one actually opened up with dinosaurs and everything?
I feel like because I read this book, I should say no. But I also think my curiosity is just so big, I would wanna see it for myself.
Mhm. Yeah.
And, like, I was a kid that loved dinosaurs. I was not like a princess doll girl. I loved dinosaurs and stuffed animals, and I like everything dinosaurs.
Yeah. Did you have a favorite dinosaur growing up?
I loved, The Land Before Time.
I was just
So,
thinking.
I was a Littlefoot, long neck fan.
Yeah. Aw.
Mhm,
I liked Sarah. She was so sassy. So
mhm,
I have a soft spot for Triceratops. But yeah, no, I totally would. Like, risk be damned. I would be visiting that park. You better believe it.
mhm.
Let's see. I didn't even what
Realize?
sunscreen. Oh, maybe.
Oh, there was Coral Safe Sunscreen.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. I was like, till a visit to the Galapagos and they have it banned. I always feel I always feel like humans are hurting the planet, but I still always am surprised when I hear things like that. Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's cool though, like when companies or organizations, they take the initiative to create something that is less damaging to the environment. Um, I mean, it's like that with the Coral Safe sunscreen. It's like that with like straws,
Mhm,
switching to paper straws. And it's like paper straws are so frustrating, but I try to use them without complaining because I know it is better for the environment.
mhm.
Um, what's another example? Um, I mean, this one's more of just like an action you can take, but like when you get like pop bottles or something and you cut the rings so like an animal doesn't try to it always makes me think of Happy Feet, that penguin that like had one around his neck and he like got really fat and it was like constricting. Like, so yeah, just little things that we can do.
Mhm.
Yeah. It would really depend on the quality of it. I have met a raptor at Universal, so I think I would be curious. Yes. So, fun fact, I was just at Universal. Here's my proof. I got this shirt from the shop. We did not ride the Velocicoaster when we were in line for it. It didn't shut down, but it had a delay. So we stood there for like another 20 minutes and we're like, okay, maybe we can check out a couple other rides and then come back to this one. And so we did. But by the time it was like time to go back to that one, my oldest, he's like, I don't think I want to ride a roller coaster right now. I'm like, oh, okay. But we did do the like Jurassic Park river adventure or jungle adventure or something, where you like go down a huge water slide at the very end and we got drenched. It was so fun.
Oh, I've never been there, but I wanna go.
Yeah, I mean, this was my first time, but I definitely need to go back because I'm a huge Harry Potter fan. Nobody else in my family is. So I got to see Hogwarts from afar, but I did not get to visit, unfortunately.
I know Sam is familiar with it.
Let's see. Let's see. Okay. Yoplait had to redesign a yogurt container because skunks were getting their heads stuck in it. Oh my god. But see, I love that. It's like they saw a problem
Mhm.
and they fixed it. Or and it reminds me, what's that movie? Robots. It's an animated movie, and it's like see a need, fill a need. Like I love that. That's so cool. Okay, we did that one. I'd consider going to a park with dinosaurs, but something a lot more thought out than the one in the book movie. Yeah, like no, for sure. I would probably wait a little. Like I would not be one of the first people going there.
Mm-mm. Be waiting
Like
for some Yelp reviews
yes,
for sure.
exactly. Yep. I'm kind of like that with books too. Like if I'm hesitant on if I think a book would be good, like do I want to waste my time if I'm not going to enjoy it and then just wait and see what the ratings are?
Well, the customer reviews and, employee
Yeah.
testimonials, I feel like that's important too,
Yes.
what
Where's
they see and what they experience.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, for sure. And like how they're treated and everything.
How they're treated, how they see the animals treated.
Mhm. No, that's a good point. Haven't been on any of the Jurassic Park rides because I'm chicken, but bummer you missed out. I know.
It's just a reason to go back.
It is. Yes. And obviously probably just like not with my kids because they'd be like, ew, Harry Potter. But and I get it because it's like if you think about it, like if my parents took me to an amusement park themed about something that they loved growing up as a kid, I'd be like, ew, that's so uncool.
Mm-hmm. The middle
So,
schoolers where I work definitely make fun of Harry Potter.
oh. Let's see. I think we only had one question left. Okay. So there is a sequel to this book. There's obviously multiple movies. But have any of you read The Lost World? And if not, are you going to after having read Jurassic Park?
I think I'm going to read it. It's not like an immediate priority right now, but I liked the writing so much in this book
Mhm.
that I want more of the writing. And
Mhm.
I'm just curious to some of the things left kind of that you're wondering about at the end of the book, like where they're going to go.
Yeah, for sure. So for me, I don't know. I honestly don't know. I did check it out on Goodreads. It seems like for the most part, a lot of people were disappointed because like it wasn't the same as Jurassic Park. But I think the biggest thing for me, and reminder, guys, we're talking about spoilers for the movies and the books. Um, in the book, Ian Malcolm dies, and that I don't know. I didn't like that because in the Lost World movie, like he's one of the main characters. It's like focusing on him and his daughter. I can't, it's been a while since I've seen that one, but they have to go somewhere for his like girlfriend or something.
Mm-hmm.
I think she's like on an excursion. And so he has to go after her. Um, so without him in the next book, like I don't know. Because obviously that book is going to be so different from the movie. So I don't know.
I think I am going to, but it might be a few months before I get around to it.
Yeah.
Like
I
I said,
do.
I just really liked the writing more than I was expecting to like the writing.
Yes. Yeah. I definitely
I
agree.
I thought it was gonna feel dated and like I don't know, like less narrative,
Hmm.
and it wasn't. Like it was a really fun read.
It was. Yeah.
Blood and
Yep.
guts and all.
Yeah. um, yeah, no, I definitely think I was expecting something a little stuffier feeling.
More clinical
Yeah.
feeling.
Yep. But yeah, no, I mean, right away, like I was pretty pleased, and it did not take long at all for me to kind of fall into this world and like, ooh, I'm having a great time.
Yeah, the opening was very engaging right
Yeah.
away with that little girl at the beach.
Yeah. Oh, and interestingly, so there were a couple scenes in this book that I'm like, oh, we saw that or like a version of that in one of the Jurassic Park movies, like the little girl on the beach that I think is the opening scene in the Lost World movie. And then the thing when Timmy and Lex were in the waterfall and the T-Rex kind of like pokes his head through the water,
Mhm.
I think is also in the Lost World movie. So that was just kind of cool to see those. Like obviously after this book, the movies kind of had to take a lot of they had to get a little creative. But so it is nice to see that they did kind of pull stuff from the original book to kind of keep it part of the same,
Mhm.
same world, same vibe. So yeah. Um, oh, Diagon Alley's side is my favorite. So on the Universal side, not. Oh, so yeah, Islands of Adventure is the one that I went to. I did go to the other one, but I didn't like not the water park, but the other one. And I don't remember seeing a dinosaur one or a Jurassic Park one on that side. Hmm. I read it shortly after reading Jurassic Park. I remember liking it. Okay, cool. Very cool. I guess the question, did you like it as much? That's probably the big question. So Sam probably would not read that, but I will watch the new movie because it's Jonathan Bailey. I haven't seen Wicked, so I don't get the hype on him yet, but I'm sure I will once I see this new movie.
They just I mean, they're not always as good, but they just put Jurassic Park on a movie, and I'm going to go see it.
Yeah.
I love watching the dinosaurs.
Yeah. No, I
Even
agree.
though tragic things typically happen to them in the movies, I still like to go see them.
Yeah. The um I can't remember if it's the second or the third Jurassic World, but where the volcano is like erupting and like there's fireballs flying through the sky. Like, I don't know, that made me really sad. Like I was so worried for the dinosaurs.
The the Brachiosaurus that gets
Yeah. And he's like standing there and he's like,
and
it's almost
apparently
like
it's been confirmed. It was confirmed by the, like, producers of the movies that that was supposed to be the same one that they first saw when they get there, and they're like because it does the same movement, and they're like, "It's the same one." It makes
oh,
me wanna cry.
that's really sad.
And it was such a gentle dinosaur.
Yeah. Oh,
But Sam, yes, Jonathan Bailey. I liked him in Bridgerton and in Wicked.
yeah. I also haven't seen Bridgerton. I'm a little behind.
I'm not as tired as I seem, guys. I'm sorry.
um, the Stray Cat doesn't remember. It was so long ago. Okay. Well, I'm glad you read it though. Like obviously, the fact that you did read it after was a good sign. So, Jurassic Park is only on the Islands of Adventure side, so you only get to see. Oh, I see, I see, I see, I see. Okay, so you were at the other park and you just saw it with your eyes, but you weren't there. Okay, gotcha. All right, so, Heather, what did you rate this book?
I think I'm giving it a 4.5.
Yeah.
Like, it was almost perfect. There were just some times where the side characters
Mhm.
were a little bit confusing as to and this is just a me thing, it's probably not the book thing, but, like, I was getting confused who was who, and it was making following the conversations a little bit difficult for me in the dialogue heavy parts, but
Mhm.
that's probably my only big complaint that I had.
Yeah.
And that sometimes Lex, I was like, "How old is she supposed to be?" Because sometimes she talked like she was 2, and sometimes she talked like she was 14.
Yeah.
But that's it. That's my only complaints.
I had very similar thoughts actually. I also am giving it 4.5 stars. For majority of the book, I was like, "Oh, this is a 5. This is a 5." But towards the end, I don't know if it was a pacing thing because like it got really fast paced and it kept like jumping back and forth between the different characters and kind of what they were doing at the time and trying to like get systems back up and running while also trying not to be mauled by a velociraptor. Um, but for whatever reason, like it lost me a little bit. And I don't really know exactly why that is. But then when I found out that Ian Malcolm died of his injuries, I'm like, nope, nope. Take off half a star. Not happening. I was
Mhm.
so upset. Like, I was so upset, Heather. I'm still upset.
Yeah,
Like, why did you take him from us?
such a gem.
I know.
Yeah, I feel like it could have been maybe 25 pages shorter,
Yeah, it was, yeah.
just with some of the, like, back and forth and, like, we've got the computer booted back up, but, oh, we have to go back in through this a lot of the computer stuff I feel like could have been edited down.
Yeah.
And in today's world, I feel like it would be.
Mhm. Yeah. Did the ebook have like the actual pictures of the
Like, the
graphs of the
pictures
part?
of the monitors and stuff.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. I thought that was kind of a cool touch.
Yeah.
Um, obviously a lot of it, like when it was talking about the DNA and like the sequencing of the different amino acids and whatever, like that was definitely a little over my head, but it was still kind of cool to have that visual representation in there for us to see.
Mhm. I feel like I would have been even more lost if the Kindle version didn't have the, like, infographics.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Did you listen to audio for this as well or just read physically?
I just read it physically.
Nice.
If I was having trouble understanding it, I was gonna get the audio, but then it was pretty easy to read. Like, the
Yeah,
writing is very accessible other than the stuff that I probably wouldn't have understood anyway.
right. Right. Let's see. Been to both. Sorry, that was confusing. I just prefer. Oh. Okay. So glad you both enjoyed the book. Maybe one day I'll read the books, but for now I'll enjoy the movies. Yeah, that's
I've
fair.
never seen it.
Yeah. And I can't remember if I just said this to you, Heather, like before we went live, or if I did say it in the beginning. So if I'm repeating myself, I apologize. But I do feel like for the most part, the movies do, or at least the first movie did a really good job of kind of staying pretty similar to the book. I guess I was really anticipating a lot of major differences, but I mean, for the most part, it was, pretty close. I think like the biggest thing, Lex and Timmy in the movie, Timmy's the younger one and Lex,
Oh.
so it's swapped. But their personalities are still pretty similar. Like Timmy is still the dinosaur nerd, and he is the one with the night vision goggles and is the one that gets stuck in the tree when the vehicle gets thrown over the edge. So yeah, I think as far as adaptations go, I think it was really well done.
Mm-hmm.
So
I also am the person that gets chills every time I hear the theme to Jurassic Park. I
yeah.
love it so much. Our band kids are learning it right now for their band concert. And I'm like, that's all you had to tell me to get me to come.
Oh, I love that. That's so cool. Yeah, no, it's iconic for sure. And there's so many different versions of it now.
Mm-hmm, but you always recognize that one little da-da-da-da. I'm like, oh my gosh, I love it. I always call, sorry guys, and nobody's new here, but Zelda is my dinosaur. I call her my Velociraptor. So here she is.
Oh, hi. Oh, all righty. Well, that is the end of the discussion for Jurassic Park. I do have Heather linked in the description, although I think I have to like renew your link once it actually goes to YouTube because it never posts as an
Yeah.
actual link. But once that happens, guys, if you do not already follow Heather, please be sure to do so. Sam says Zelda's cute. Next month, or later this month, I should say, the book club pick is Made for You by Jenna Satterthwaite. Yeah, Satterthwaite. And the co-host is going to be Jessie of Reading with Jess. And that live discussion is going to be on April 30th, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So yeah, hopefully you guys pick that up and discuss with us. I don't think I'm forgetting anything. No, we're good. So be sure to follow Libronauts on Instagram. Join us in the Discord so you can join all the discussions. Be sure to follow all of my co-hosts. And yeah, hope to see you all later this month. So have a good evening. Bye.